What's up, everybody? Welcome to Lightshare Labs again. I'm here painting this really cool valley scene. Adrian and Andre are going to ask me some questions throughout this process, so you guys can see how this whole painting will unfold from start to finish.
Yeah, it's been a while we did one of these, so it's gonna be really then it's gonna be really awesome. How did this idea come to happen, Dom, about this painting?
I was actually looking at a reference image from Pexels. We'll link that in, but that image or that site has a lot of free images you can use, so I just came across this really cool reference of this valley in like Thailand or something, and I thought it'd be cool to have the story be like this farmer picking some rice or something, and there's like these flying ships flying across this valley ready to, you know, go start like a work day or something. And yeah, it's just like this bright morning moody scene. The sun's kind of coming into the left side. I'm kind of painting that in a bit later, but so far I'm just establishing my 3 grayscale values: light, medium, dark, layering that on top, and then just being kind of expressive and loose, making sure all the shapes read and everything. So
You did like a couple of spheres in the beginning. Is that where the lighting idea was like happening, or like how do you approach the idea of the lighting of your scene?
So those spheres were actually just for perspective placement, just to see like how surfaces are parallel to each other. So as it's going back in space, you know, those circles are getting smaller or they're getting more flattened. And to determine the lighting, I basically just choose one light source, either from the left or the right side. In this case, it's going to be from the left side. So we're going to get some reflection. As you can see here, it's coming in.
I'm wondering, like, because you did kind of like laid out all the values, and now you're going in and basically like refining certain areas. And like, at what point do you decide to do that? Is that something that is more organic and like you refine certain areas separately, or is it always like defining all the values first and then you like very consciously moving to detailing? How do you like think about those steps?
So first, it's all just about like the value setup, making sure that the contrast reads the most, because when we're building any sort of environment scene, we want to make sure that we have strong separation between dark and light values, so that way if the whole scene is all mid-tone, then everything is going to kind of blend in and look the same. So having our brightest brights and our darkest darks will kind of leave that room for separating those elements. And we can see like which object is a mountain or which object is water in this instance, or like which object's a character, and so on and so forth. So.
Yeah, it's really cool how you recycle a lot of parts of your image. I see you copying parts and like flipping them and using only like certain areas of those copied parts.
So at this point, I'm kind of just merging all the layers together. So at that point where I'm just working with the grayscale, a lot of the layers are not collapsed yet until this point where I'm putting the color on. Then all the layers are kind of merged into one, and then I just keep layering on top of that even more. So that way I can save on layers and I can just work on it like a normal painting. So I treat it as like one canvas instead of having too many like masks and filters to work with. We're just trying to keep the process a bit streamlined, so that way, you know, it doesn't get super complex.
Oh, there was quite a change that happened now.
Yeah,
like,
what was that? Color balance?
Oh, I just dropped some auto tone. So if you go to image adjustments you can find autotone there, and that kind of shifts the color a little bit. So it works like a contrast, like an auto contrast, but it contrasts your colors for you a little bit. So if your scene is too warm, it might try to push it into the blues, so that way it can even that out.
You might want to copy the layer first to have the backup in case it goes wrong, right? Because that's applied on the layer directly. It's not like a smart filter or a smart material or a smart layer,
Right.
or anything like that, right?
Yeah, so that's why you have to merge the layer first before you put any of those settings on. Otherwise, it won't work on like a empty layer or something. That goes the same for like blending modes. And so if you're ever using blending modes for different brushes, you have to make sure that it's all merged first before you can put like color dodge or like multiply with the same brush. So.
Yeah, what was going through your mind at this point, like story-wise, you know?
So far in this part of the scene, I didn't really have like a set story in mind. I just wanted to see how the whole valley would build up first. And then I could look at my reference, which has like all the characters that I want to throw into the scene. And then I could see how the story envelops with the placement. So if I put like a character in the middle ground or it in the foreground, the story can change. So being aware of placement, I'm starting to put in characters now, or some more texture, but I just want to put in like a farmer.
So you build
in there for the.
So you build the thing, and then let it dictate some, or spark rather. You let it spark some ideas in your mind about how to use the characters and things that you see happening here as you build it, right? As you paint this landscape, certain ideas for the storytelling will pop on your mind, and then you would approach them based on what you have so far.
Yeah. So everything's kind of
Is that correct?
Improvised in a way where it's like, okay, I'm seeing the whole mood and the atmosphere. I'm getting the bigger picture first before I go into like all the mechanisms of what this story is going to be about. Just making sure I have all my references together, seeing what I can use to balance out the big detail and the small detail, because we don't want every area to have too much detail. We want to kind of spread it out where there's areas of rest, which is like the sky area and the mountain area. Those are areas of rest. So they're in the foreground. That's where like all the detail is going to be.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you to like talk a little bit about like how you come up with focal areas, you know, the idea about your focal area and stuff. Like, how do you choose which side of the image is gonna be like the, let's say, the main protagonist, right? Because in a scene like this, it might look like everything's equally just as beautiful and super detailed and all that stuff, even though like those mountains in the back, they seem pretty smooth and like lacking the detail that we have here in the front. But even here in the front, there must be a hierarchy, right? That provides depth and that range of values and tones and even colors. Like, I like how that red hat is popping out so much now. And you changed it to blue.
Not anymore.
How accurate that was. The timing.
Yeah.
No, I really find it interesting
fails.
how you add the characters later on. Like, and even those, I don't know, those drones or something, like, it's almost as if you are thinking so much about the landscape itself at first, and then you introduce everything else. Because I see some artists that like they think of the composition with all of the elements at first, and then they started refining like one by one. And it seems to me the environment itself is like extremely attractive to you because you focus like for so long on it. And it's almost as if the characters and the other elements, they are like
It's kind of like
extremely secondary on
element.
your
It helps to distinguish that. But
which might be also like another reason why like you are actually like designing the environment and stuff like that. But to the characters, like it's not actually a like huge design difference, right? It's not something that it's like extensively worked on.
Right.
So like we can actually pay attention to the important thing, which is like the scene and the lighting and the mood and all of that. So.
Yep. And that's pretty much it.
I like this process.
I don't know how you can
Really
keep
cool.
yourself from like zooming in and detailing like a lot of things.
Everything he does, like he never zoomed in, not even a bit.
It's a big picture. That's all it is. But cool. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Lightshare Labs. Please subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Leave a comment.
Yeah.
See you soon, guys.
Yeah, guys.
Bye-bye.